Everyone remembers the cancellation of Star Wars 1313. It was supposed to be LucasArts' grand comeback in the gaming world, a Star Wars game focused not on the Jedi and Sith, but the gritty underworld of Coruscant. There was a killer E3 demo, and then Disney buys Lucasfilm and shuts down LucasArts, canceling all their current projects. That's right, projects. What if I told you there was another game, one that was the start of a roadmap to bringing back the Battlefront franchise from the dead long before EA ever got their hands on it? Multiplayer first-person shooters were all the rage back in the Xbox 360 and PS3 days. Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Halo were everywhere, and plenty of other developers noticed and wanted a piece of the pie. One prominent amongst them was LucasArts. The Battlefront series had been successful for them, but Pandemic Studios, the developers of Battlefront, had shut down, and LucasArts wasn't exactly in the best shape for in-house development. The last fully LucasArts developed title at that point was 2010's The Force Unleashed 2, which was, let's just say, not well received.
You agreed to stay away! I lied.
At least that game actually released, though. But in 2010, LucasArts was looking to turn things around, and one part of that puzzle was 1313, but the other part was to address the Battlefront problem. Everyone's favorite Diet Coke enthusiast, George Lucas, marched down to the LucasArts offices one day in 2010 and gave them a very simple directive. I want Star Wars Call of Duty. And so, development started on what would become Star Wars First Assault, a game that focused on ground combat in a post-Return of the Jedi world. George Lucas wants it to be Clone Wars now? No, wait, he was just kidding! But this Call of Duty clone slowly began to turn into something else. Not only its own game with its own interesting concepts, but also the first stage of bringing back Battlefront, completely in-house. First Assault was going to function as a test bed, both to see public response to a Star Wars FPS in the current market, but also as a way to flesh out that part of the gameplay of a potential new Battlefront. Elsewhere at the studio, a spiritual successor to the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games that was being developed for the Wii U was cancelled. This game, called Wingman, was then retrofitted into what was Stage 2 or Version 2 of this Battlefront 3 plan at LucasArts. This would be a separate game, much like First Assault, but this time focusing on vehicle mechanics. It would release about a year after First Assault, and then mechanics from both games would be combined along with a full single-player campaign and more Battlefront-like features into a full final retail release of Battlefront 3 a year after Wingman. But that never happened.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
First Assault was planned for release in spring of 2013, with an announcement in public beta in late 2012. But in September of 2012, the month that the game was supposed to be officially announced and the beta was supposed to go live, executives enacted a freeze on all of LucasArts. No media, no hiring, nothing.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
Developers that were still there continued to work, unsure of exactly what was going on, but those working on First Assault were especially confused. 1313 had a ways to go to release, but First Assault was ready to go. The Xbox listing even leaked, but then, just a month later, everything made sense. In October of 2012, Disney buys Lucasfilm, and about 6 months later, LucasArts is shut down. And so, First Assault vanished. An internal trailer eventually leaked, and in 2017, a whole beta build of the game leaked out, but what do you do with a beta build of a multiplayer-only game? Well, the answer in 2026 is to simply make the multiplayer part work. That's right, a lot of the footage that you've been seeing is me actually playing First Assault online. And I've gotta say, it's pretty good. Thanks to the fantastic work done by fans in the Star Wars First Assault multiplayer Discord, you can now play the game in a custom version of the Xenia emulator. I've got the Discord linked in the description so you can get it running and hop on. It can be a bit, buggy at times, but all in all, it works pretty great. But what is the game actually like? It's pretty fun. It's very arcadey, and the Call of Duty influence is clear. It even has its own version of kill streaks called deployables, more of which you unlock via leveling up. Same for anything in your loadout, really. But it's got some great mechanics to set itself apart, too. Anyone can heal any teammate just by meleeing them. Respawns work on a wave system with gunships dropping you off on your side of the map. You can even snipe off of the ship and get some kills if you're lucky, which feels pretty satisfying. Plus, there's the extraction, when the losing team has to book it back to a dropship to get out. It all comes together to make a game that feels like it would have had a solid run on Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network at the time. It had some great ideas that set it apart from other download-only multiplayer games of the time, like Battlefield 1943 and Gotham City Imposters, but it just wasn't meant to be. I guess even back in 2012, Disney was allergic to making money from Star Wars games.